And we told you about that interaction we're going to have with the producer of our latest Hotline documentary. And following up from Rachel Kojo-Nyakoso, we decided to delve deeper into this. And, well, we would want to know this because he, like many fishing observers, chose to be Ghana's frontline defenders against an overfishing crisis that is among the worst in the sub-region, West Africa. But it appears the fight has been lost as these observers are either threatened or, in some cases, go missing on fishing trawlers. So, in July 2019, Emmanuel Essien was declared missing at sea without a trace. A year on, his family says they are yet to receive the outcome of the security investigation that so far has started. All these compelling details are in our latest Hotline documentary. And the producer of that documentary is Nancy Emefa Jiradosi. We want to have that interaction with her. Nancy, good morning to you.
Hi, Roland. Good morning.
You're looking smashing. Now, I know that coming
it's
from
a big day, so yes, I need to look the part.
Coming from this interaction and you having been speaking to fishing people, this is a point in time when we have to take a further look at apparently all the things that have been happening in the industry. What should we be looking forward to in this piece you have?
Well, in 2014, the European Union warned Ghana that it was going to put a ban on fishing activities and also exports of our fish, to the European Union. That was in 2015. Then government decided that they needed to have some reforms and relaunch everything to ensure that the illegal fishing goes down. And so as part of that, there was some amount of money from the World Bank to place fishing observers on their trawlers. So, what they're supposed to do essentially is to record illegal things that is happening on the fishing trawlers. So you take down notes. If they sell fish at sea, you take them down. If they are, fishing the pelagic, the small fishes, which is illegal, you tend to record all of that and then come back and then give it to the Fisheries Commission, and then the police will continue investigations. But Roland, you'll be interested to know that even though we have fishing observers on the trawlers, the illegalities are still ongoing. And some of the fishing observers who try to be different are either sometimes threatened, in some cases they are murdered, in some cases they go missing. And there are some reports from 2017 that has established that fishing observers in Africa, even around the world, sometimes are in serious or in grievous danger because of the job that they're supposed to be doing. And so in this documentary, they're really going to be delving into how Emmanuel Essien, a fishing observer last year, mysteriously disappeared on Magazine 15. Up to now, I spoke to the family yesterday, and they tell me that they are yet to receive any official document from the Fisheries Commission telling them what exactly happened, except to say that some of the sailors and some of the people on the vessels were arrested, but as of now, nothing.
Well, we have to call for the excerpt. And when we come back, we'll ask a question or two about what are some of the details so far you found out following this investigations you did.
A research conducted by EFG in 2017 revealed that approximately 100,000 tons of fish were landed through SAIKO, out of the total 167,000. What this means is that just 40% of catches were landed legally and reported to the Fisheries Commission, despite observers being present on a number of vessels. But one of such observers who did his job diligently was Emmanuel Essien. Essien, prior to this job, had been unemployed for over a year. His brother remembers how elated he was when he got the chance to serve as an eye on Ghana's sea.
No tell me say when you do, and I'm so big to me, and also obey to me. Yes, he was happy. So when you do, na it was so cool. And I'm so you no, oh, tell no, no, oh, jide so cool, and juma. It is no international crowd no ba me gidi na ade chi an okoi.
So onye ejuma the following day na no ko.
Debi. Onye ejuma to mean say obo mama ne no na me fi say bia. Nti da bi me ono ti umi anadwo na na me pace kama na nti o to en Sunday. I'm so by mobile Friday be in 3 days be na.
But his confidence in excelling in the new job was short-lived. Emmanuel left home on the 30th of June after he had been given a short notice from his bosses at the Fisheries Commission to be on board Megzin 15 trawler. But just 6 days after he left his wife and 2 children, they got a call that was going to change their lives forever.
30th July na on the 5th July na 30th June. On the 5th July na friend say amuhunu e wonsu no so. Obi a me na di nkomo yi na ba nse na amuhunu na amumai ne company ni number and friend I'm director bi or friend Mr. Ni. Your friend na o say am pa mo atibi and I must sign vessel on the back. I must sign vessel on the back into no yen train.
This news came in as a shock to not only the family but the president of the Trawlers Association, Dr. Eni, who first received the news.
Well, I was the first or one of the first people who had a message that something has happened on the vessel. And so my first response is call the police, call the Fisheries Commission, and the owner of the vessel did just that. In fact, I spent about 4 or 5 hours at the port when the vessel arrived, because what we then did was to ask the vessel to come, because if you can't find the observer, then the most rational thing to do is to bring the vessel. And before the vessel arrived, I think about 3, 4, 5 hours, the police had been notified, the Fisheries Commission had been notified, the vessel berthed, the police, the BNI, and all other agencies, security agencies at the port went on the vessel, collected, materials that they needed to use for their investigation. They picked all the sailors, they took statement from them. At the point we had to appear before the Maritime Authority. And as far as I'm concerned, as far as industry is concerned, we have followed due process.
And Nancy, if we take a look at what you found out deeper, how difficult in what difficulty really do we find ourselves? Or in what difficult state do we find the industry?
Roland, it's really hard to even say, because listening to fishermen, listening to the Trawlers Association, I've worked with some NGOs, EFJ, I've worked with some of the fisheries NGOs, and listening to other fishing observers. Sometimes I don't want to believe that there's no hope, but it's quite difficult, because the fishing observers are supposed to be that eye on the sea, that eye that, watches everything. But with my interaction with one of the fishing observers, which you would want to watch later at 8:30 p.m. today, he tells me about how difficult their job is. So he says that per their reports, the Navy are supposed to come around whilst they're on sea at least every week, but they can go 3 months and the Navy will come only once. And so 1, their lives are in danger. 2, the fishing observers sometimes have to turn a blind eye and take money. They are receiving bribes from the fishing trawlers, because according to them, sometimes they are threatened and asked that if you don't take this money, this is what's going to happen to you. Well, I spoke to the Trawlers Association as an executive member, Mr. Eni, who said that yes, he has seen it happen before. So the question is, anytime fishing observers come back with these details, what action what actions are taken by government? How are we making sure that the work that the fishing observers are doing are even enough? Meanwhile, Professor Youngson with the University of Cape Coast, one of the fisheries experts, tells me that it is actually wrong. He feels that we are just endangering the lives of these fishing observers. So what it means is that Ghana, we need to come up with better ways of dealing with the problem, because as it stands, the Trawlers Association don't believe that SAIKO, in its sense, actually is a bad thing. And so this whole concept of SAIKO and illegal fishing must be relooked at, and then you can take it from there.
Well, and when is this airing?
Well, it's airing today. It's going to be in 2 parts. And so the first part ends today at 8:30 p.m. right after JoyNews Prime. And also we'll get the repeat of it tomorrow at 6:30. And so, and then the next week, the same thing. And so please make sure that you catch it tonight at 8:30. If you miss, you can have a look at it tomorrow at 6:30 p.m.
Well, Nancy Emma Fajradosi, and that's a good one. Painstaking investigations, and look, you have to stick and stay. We all consume fish, but when details of what are revealed in a documentary gives us the indication that all is not well, this is where we have to make sure we stay glued to our screens and watch JoyNews this evening. 8:30 p.m. Nancy Emma Fajradosi. Of a good work there. And
yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
You know, the Volta region, especially the southern side, is bordering the sea. So some of these things we need to take a proper look
so
at.
make a day 8:30. Well, a few things happening this morning. There was a hint yesterday that the president will be addressing the nation ahead of the voter registration exercise. We keep an eye on that. Also happening is the Defense Minister, Dominic Nitiwo, who will be addressing the press and be addressing the nation. In effect, that was revealed to you in that conversation with Information Minister Kojo Ponkroma. So these two things we're looking at. If it gets underway, of course, you'll see it and hear it first here on JoyNews. But for now, thanks for your company. We will see you tomorrow, God willing. We've got more news and analysis coming up on News Desk at 10 a.m. Please make a date.